Oh.
Okay. So just a quick reminder, next week we're not gonna have a class. It's Yeshiva week, so everybody's awake. I mean, at least. Rabbi Top is away.
2 weeks.
Yeah. I'm away. It's we're not going skiing. We're going the other direction. We're going
Desert?
no, we're going to Hawaii. Yeah. My kids are not into cold weather, so okay. Um Lawrence Sampson. I don't know. We have a lady here that she's here, you're there. You're muted. You're muted.
He's here.
You need to click on the microphone. There's a microphone thingy at the bottom of the.
I'm here now.
There you go. What?
I sent my better half. You
Ah.
got the smarter one.
No, I got you both, guys. I have both of you. Okay, so we're skipping next week. Okay, that's the big. So you see,
We should all join him.
go to Maui.
My Hawaii shirt.
Um. Okay, so we discussed those the Magen, the Piyutim in Shacharit for the second day of Rosh Hashanah. We went through actually pretty much in depth with those Piyutim of the Magen, i.e. in the first bracha. It's called Magen because it's Magen Avraham, right? Then, let's see, what page are we in? We did that. Okay, then we continue with the tefillah the way it is. Page 338 in the middle. Zochreinu lechaim. We spoke about that, and we have the chatima of right. This is the addition for Rosh Hashanah, from Rosh Hashanah till Yom Kippur. Zochreinu lechaim. We spoke about that a long time ago. We have the chatima. Baruch Ata Hashem Magen Avraham. That's the middle of 338, and that is the end of the first bracha. What happens there? We go right into the second bracha. Tagibol Olam Hashem. Right? It's called Gevurot, the second bracha. And what do we have here? In just before we go into the Khatima of that bracha, right? We sing ta 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 ta. Okay, maybe not at Rosh Hashanah. We have different melodies for that, but whatever. Right? Everybody know where I am? Thank you. And here we go to a different piyut, and here this is the piyut that we call the what? The Mechaye. Why? Well, it's in the middle of Mechaye Hametim. That's the name of this bracha. Okay? And so let's talk about this particular Mechaye. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask somebody to read the English. Who volunteers? Esther? Okay, so I'm gonna take this next to you so they can hear the English translation. Okay, we start with Tamim Po'alcha Gedol Ha'etza over there at the bottom of 339. Your work is perfect.
Your work is perfect, O great source of counsel. We sought your presence to find your righteousness. May you wash away sin's filth. Okay. And bring an end to its disgrace. Accept our prayerful groan and fence in the breach, the sheep of our offering removed from their stall, and the bulls and lambs for peace and elevation offerings. We will organize our language in an order of prayer. May our expression be as beautiful as incense and meal offering. From the upright path, if we have strayed, abandoning your mission by being lax in performance. Before you, may the order of our prayers be regarded like an altar, like the knife prepared of old that still provides merit. Together, Father and Son went to Mount Moriah. to prepare an offering in observance of your commandment. Preserve their offspring by arousing your mercy. May the memory of your oath be like rising incense smoke. As you sit today to judge peoples, be filled with mercy on his offspring. May you brighten our judgment, and may we not leave humiliated. May the grapevine you planted be established for long days. In the merit of the bound one, Isaac, be attentive from heaven to the destitute people who call to you from oppression. Engrave our name in your book for life, and be attentive to the utterance of our lips, as if we were Isaac's prayer.
Okay. So, yeah, turn the laptop. That's okay. So it's so only towards the end we kind of discovered that the theme here is the Akedah, right? It's Yitzchak. So let's figure this out. What's going on here? So first of all, what's the structure? What's the structure of this one?
It's that.
Exactly. It's what we call a tashrak. Tafshin Reish Kuf. It's a backwards aleph bet. Think that you start from Z, Y, X. Okay. So Tamim, that's the Taf, Shicharnucha, that's the Shin, Reish, Kuf, etc. You'll see that each tzela, each part of the line starts with the letter from the alphabet, but it's backwards. We start with Taf, Shin, Reish, Kuf, Tzadi, Pei, Ain, etc. And it's called Mivne Tashrak, right? Taf, Shin, Reish, Kuf, Tashrak. Okay, so that's number one. Number two. So the theme here is Akedat Yitzchak, but we see it only later on. We have like little hints before that. The first one is a little bit different. It's interesting. What's going on in the first one? The first one is kind of like a general asking God for forgiveness. Without any mentioning of any zchut avot, with any married, and none of that stuff. Basically, Tamim Po'alcha Gedol, how did in English? Your work is perfect, O great source of counsel. Exactly. We sought your presence to find your righteousness. May you wash away sins. Okay, why? Just because we asked, and bring an end to its disgrace. Okay. Later on, we're going to talk about the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, which kind of gives us, let's call it justification for asking God for forgiveness. And later on is going to be the Zchut Avot, the merits of the father, in more broad way. Fine. Interesting, the very beginning. Hopefully, nobody kind of like it resonates with them. You'll see in a second. Tamim po'alcha gedol ha'etza. The first tzela, the first half of the first line. So, what do you think you were saying here? We're praising God, right? You would say, but actually, Chazal, and actually let's be more specific. It's not even Chazal. It's the poet. We spoke about him. Shimon Bar Yitzchak is the guy that wrote the poet from last week. Shimon Bar Yitzchak HaGadol, right? And he had in mind a different connotation. Tamim po'alcha gedol ha'etza is a very famous pasuk that we say in a particular time. Anyone connotation? Hatzur tamim po'alo kechol derachav mishpat.
When her child is.
And then, no, the opposite.
Oh, dies?
Exactly.
Oy.
And then we said, Gedol ha'itza v'rav ha'aliliyah. So these words are directly taken from Tziduk Hadin. Okay, Tziduk Hadin is the prayer that we recite at the time of burial and a funeral. What is going on in Tziduk Hadin? Tziduk Hadin is the time of, what is Tziduk Hadin? Let's start with that. What is Tziduk Hadin? Okay, din is judgment. Good. Tziduk, right. So it's justifying, or so to say, or accepting, acknowledging, right? Hatzdaka. justification, right, of the din. It's a very, very powerful prayer, and the concept is very, very difficult, right? Because what we say is, at the time of pain, during the funeral, it's the most, difficult, challenging time, we say we accept God's decree. We don't understand that sometimes. We have issues with that. We have questions. We grapple with that. Nonetheless, we accept God's judgment. What does it mean we accept God's judgment? In plain English, it means we're still in the game.
Even though he did this to us.
Even he did this, exactly. He, capital H, did this to us. We're still in the game.
What about the ones that don't?
What do you mean? The ones who don't.
Don't accept.
That don't accept it?
They don't say that prayer, probably. And if they say it, probably they have no idea what they're saying. Okay?
It also relieves them from the responsibility of the judgment.
The judgment is only God.
It's Hashem's judgment.
It is God's judgment. Okay? So what we say is, tzaddik, Hatzur tamim po'olo kechol derachav mishpat. I mean, I've done too many funerals in my life. Okay. Hatzur tamim po'olo kechol derachav mishpat. Hatzur, that's a reference to God. He's tamim, complete, right? Kechol derachav mishpat, because all his ways are just. El emunah ben avel tzaddik ve'yasharu. There's no injustice. There's no tzaddik ve'yasharu. God is right. And that's basically the whole tefillah. It's fragments of psukim, and some of them are not psukim, whatever. And then one of the lines over there, so what he did, say, Tamim po'olcha, Hatzur tamim po'olo. Tamim po'olcha. He took those two words from there to create the connotation. And then there's another line later on in the Tziduk Hadin that says, Gedol ha'etza verav ha'aliliya asher אליך פקוחות דרכי בני אדם, לתת לאיש כדרכיו וכפרי מעלליו. That's towards the end. Okay, and you take גדול העצה from there, from that line. By the way, the whole source for Tziduk Hadin comes from the Talmud. It's in the of Masechet Avodah Zarah, the tractate of Avodah Zarah, that it's the story of Asara Harugei Malchut, the 10 martyrs. We read some of that story. Well, some of us read that. Some of us are fast asleep. It's Yom Kippur towards the end of Musaf. It's after Seder Avodah. It's it's a tough day. I get it. But this is where the description of the Asara Harugei Malchut. So that's part of that. And what happens is that we have so there were 3 of them that were executed. Rabbi Hanania ben Tradion said, Hatzur tamim po'olo kechol derachav mishpat. That's a pasuk, by the way, from where? Parashat Ha'azinu, from Sefer Dvarim. Okay, so that was his pasuk. His wife said, El emunah ben avel tzaddik ve'yasharhu. That's the next pasuk. And his daughter said, Gdol ha'etza ve'rav ha'aliliya, asher enecha pekuchot al kol darchei bnei adam, לתת לאיש כדרכיו וכפרי מעלליו. That's a pasuk from Yirmiyahu. And that becomes the basis for that prayer, Tziduk Hadin, that we recite during funerals.
What does that mean, what the daughter said?
גדול העצה ורב ההללויה. God is the one that has see the full picture. Okay? אשר עיניך פקוחות על כל דרכי בני אדם, that your eyes, God, so to say, are open to see the entire ways, the entire behavior of people, of every person, לתת לאיש כדרכיו וכפרי מעלליו. To give every person according to their actions, according to their deeds. Basically, to summarize it, it's reward and punishment, which is a core principle in Judaism. Interestingly, by just put it in brackets, reward and punishment is a whole interesting concept by itself in Judaism, right? We can talk about that. It can be like a whole year of discussion. But what's interesting in modern history, so to say, the Reform movement, for example, does not believe in reform in that concept. They said we can't justify something like the Shoah. We can't say it's reward and punishment. It's hard for us to justify it in those theological let's call it philosophy. And therefore, where do we recite this idea of reward and punishment, like really very clearly every day in our tefillot? We say it every day, I promise you. And it's like when I say it, it's like, oh yeah. No, not Shmona Esrei, but the other big one in the Shema. והיה אם שמוע תשמעו אל מצוותיי. The second paragraph of the Shema is all about reward and punishment. And therefore, if you open a Reform Siddur, you will see that the second paragraph of the Shema is not there.
They just eliminate.
They took it out, not because they want to make the tefillah shorter or aesthetics or any of that stuff. There's a real philosophy behind that. It's reward and punishment. We have a problem with that. We take it out in that context.
Yeah, there's no punishment. Oh, you're right.
No. I didn't say that. It's much more complicated. It's a much bigger question. I don't want to, we are obligated, all Jews obligated to whatever, to certain, not only mitzvot, ways of thinking, ways of life, and parameters and principles and order and punishment. It really doesn't translate perfect. Like it's how you can we justify when really that stuff happened? How that happened,
Well, that's because
Tzaddik ve'alo, rasha ve'tov lo. That's already Job is grappling with that question, right? Okay, that's the oldest question.
Is everything Hashem does is reward and punishment, or he has a plan and it just collateral damage?
Okay. Well,
It's true.
suggesting that with God there's collateral damage is a little bit, how can, God is perfect. All his ways are perfect. He's just. There are theological issues here. Anyway, just wanted to give context of this pasuk. Okay. Then, שחררנו פניך בצדקתך נמצא. שחררנו פניך בצדקתך נמצא. So this is based on a pasuk in Mishlei. Pasuk in Mishlei says, אני אוהבי אהב ומשחריי ימצאוני. I love those who love me. Umeshacharai. What is leshacher? Okay, in modern Hebrew, we're going to say leshacher. No. Leshacher. No, it's leshacher. For example, in modern Hebrew, Miri will know that. We're going to say it about predators. For example, they go leshacher lateref. Okay, to seek. Teref, to seek animals that they're gonna eat. when it comes to predators. Hunting. Okay. So here, so what we're saying is, shicharnucha. Now, where it comes from? Shicharnucha comes from what word also? Shachar, which is related to shachor. What is the shachar? What is alot shachar? It's the beginning of the morning.
Dark.
But it's the contrast to the night. The night is shachor. Okay. When is that time that... Okay, shacharit is also correct. Now, what is the time that predators are going, or the evil, whatever, are going to try to hunt? Okay, where do you have burglaries? At night. Okay, and actually, it's towards the morning. It's like, it's going to be like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, when it's the shachar just starts, right?
When the dawn is just beginning.
Right, the dawn, right? So it's a very kind of,
It sort of fits in with.
it's the twilight zone,
Yeah.
The morning one.
okay?
Like
The
it
morning
is.
twilight zone, exactly. And it has a lot of connotations, right? So when we say shicharnucha, okay, shicharnucha, that means we came to beseech you. And slichot, we say that shicharnu panecha, we say something like that, I think, or shicharnucha in boker. There's one of the slichot in the morning, right? We came to beseech your face, so to say, panecha, in that shachar, in that time that is uncertain. It's night, it's day, it's like the twilight, right? Okay.
So that would be the time that people would be maybe more likely to have fear or something.
Yeah, absolutely. The dark is associated with fear, right? So umeshacharai yimtzeuni, when you say umeshacharai, it also has sometimes a connotation, slightly negative or vulnerable connotation. They can find me because it's shachar already, and I'm vulnerable at that time. Okay, so when I say shicharnu panecha, I'm going to beseech your face in the morning, but I'm very vulnerable at that time. V'tzidkatcha nimtza. Well, that is the connection to the previous pasuk where we talk about tzedek, about justice. Okay, when I seek your face, right? That's what I do. What am I going to find? Justice. Justice is this. So tzedek nimtza. V'tzidkatcha nimtza. Your justice I will find. Okay, then. Rachetz tenef vehatem shimtza. Okay, rachetz. Yeah, exactly. Nechama. Shmutz. Exactly. Rachetz u lirchotz. Lirchotz is to wash, to clean, usually. Tenef. What is tenef? Tenef go over the word tinofet. Tinofet is dirt. Okay. Ha'aver tinufenu, we say in the slichot, right? It's the same idea. Okay, then we say in the piyut in Yom Kippur, shemetz taher vegam tetaher. Okay. Anyway, then vehatem shimtza. What is shimtza? How to translate shimtza? Disgrace. Okay. Shimtza, yeah, it's disgrace. So what is vehatem? Tom. Tom is end. No, that's a tough and that's a tet. Well, good thinking, Esther, but it's a tough and tet. Okay, so Tom, when I say ad Tom, till the end. So Tom's end. So vehatem, he made a verb out of it. Vehatem and the disgrace. Okay, next. קבל ענק וגדור פרצה. Okay, ענק. What is? No. להענק, באלף. להענק תחת עול. פרשת השבוע. ויענקו בני ישראל. So what is it להענק?
Since he grew up.
The what? No. Except are grown. It's להענק זה אוי. When things are really tough. I can't take it anymore. Okay. So this
Emek is the grown.
ענק.
Enek.
Yeah.
Enek.
Aleph.
Aleph.
Okay. So what do we say? Kabel enek. Accept my, it's basically, it's kvetching, thank you. But it's a big kvetch.
Yeah.
Yeah. ויענקו בני ישראל תחת העבודה. That's literally in the parsha, right? So accept that enek, accept that kvetch. Okay? וגדור פרצה. גדור פרצה. What is a פרצה? Breach. Okay. Where do we see that, for example? ופרצת is to open.
Yes.
Right? So, okay. So פרצה, when we say in modern Hebrew, פרצה קוראת לגנב. What does it mean? פרצה, if you leave your house, you leave the door open, then the thieves are going to go in. If you have a פרצה בגדר, you're going to have a breach, you're going to have a hole in your fence. Okay. So ugdor pirza, what a gdor is geder, is gader, is what? It's a fence. So we ask God to close the fence, close the breach, close what is broken there, right? So by the way, it comes from a very famous pasuk in the book of Amos. Bayom ha'u, we say it many times. Akim et sukat David anufalet. God says, I will reestablish the sukkah, right, which is a metaphor for Jewish sovereignty. Sukkah David anufat vegadarti et pirtzeihen, right, and I will close the gaps. I will close the holes in the fence. Vaharisotav akim. What's harisotav? Harisotav is ruins. The ruins I will erect. Uvnitiha kimei olam. And I will rebuild it, meaning the kingdom of Beit David, like, forever. So these are like different stages of the remodeling that you need to do, right? You need to erect the sukkah. How this is going to happen? First of all, you close the openings, you close the holes in the fence, you erect the ruins, and then you do the TLC. So what we say, ugdor pirza, there's a pirza, there's a problem, there's an opening that allows us not to do the right thing somehow. Pirza could be also like a mental thing or whatever, something, right? So close it. Yeah, maybe it's Yetzer Hara. Maybe it's Yetzer Hara. Okay. Next. צאן לטבח גזר ממחילה, פרים וכבשים לשלמים ועולה. Okay. So, צאן לטבח גזר ממחילה. Okay, so this is, yes, well, in modern Hebrew, צאן לטבח, it's sheep to slaughter and became, unfortunately, the term became very, very associated with pogroms and later on with the Holocaust, etc., etc. Okay, צאן לטבח. But it's based on a pasuk from the book of Habakkuk, where he says, "Gazar mimchilat tzon ve'en bakar barefatim." Gazar mimchilat tzon, right? Tzon, sheep, are in the mechila. Sometimes we call it deer, whatever. Okay? Their house. Gazar, to cut. To cut. So he cut them out from their home, whatever that means. Ve'en bakar barefatim. Bakar is cattle. No cattle in the refet. Anyone been in a kibbutz? Yes, good. What's a refet? Smells bad, correct. But what's there a word? There's got to be what? The cow house, whatever. I don't know. There's got to be a word for that in English. It's where the cows are. It's called refet. Cow bar. Okay. A barn, whatever it's called. Okay.
Stable.
Anyway, stable, whatever. Okay. So, and bakar barefatim. The Navi says no bakar, no cattle at home. What is this? What is the Navi saying? The Navi is saying no animals available for sacrifices. He's not concerned about our protein consumption. He's concerned about the offerings and Beit HaMikdash. Okay. Fine. But it's also hinting to Tzon Latevach, as we said, to Am Yisrael, because Am Yisrael is being abused throughout history, right? Remember, who is the poet? Shimon Bar Yitzchak. We said it last week. He is contemporary of Rashi. A lot of pogroms. Jews are not having like a great time. Medieval time, post-medieval times, right? Not a greatest time in Europe for Jews.
No.
What? Now, forget it. Yes. Okay. So Tzon Latevach is definitely has a meaning, a contemporary meaning over there. And by the way, this idea of cattle and whatever is already a hint to what? Animals being sacrificed. We already know where this poem is going later. For Yitzchak, thank you. It's already like giving us a hint where we're going with that. Okay. Next one. Arichat safa na'aroch b'tfilah. Okay, so this is based on a pasuk from Tehillim. Pasuk says, Hashem, boker tishma koli, boker e'eroch lecha va'atzapeh. It talks about this arichat sefatayim. By the way, there's every day we say in the דברים how we call it, הדברים שהתורה נקנית בהם, right? So we have like the simple Mishnah, הפאה והביקורים והארון, all that, but there's like memchet דברים. Where is it? It's a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah in Masechet Avot that talks about memchet, 48 things by which you acquire Torah. What is one of them, of the 48 in that list, is what? Arichat Sefatayim. What is Arichat Sefatayim? Is repetition of our Torah study, right? And it's actually verbalizing it. One of the things that in traditional learning is you don't just read the text. When you sit with a page of Talmud, you recite it. Actually, you recite it actually with a melody and with this. Why? Because that's part of it. You need to verbalize it. Right? We talked about that's the same thing in the concept of tefillah. Remember, we said, what do we need to explain to God what we want in the Amidah? He already knows. No. You need to verbalize it. It's for you. Right? So the same goes for Torah study. You need to verbalize it. You need to say it. Okay, you go to a Beit Midrash, a traditional Beit Midrash, it's not that they're sitting there and just reading the text like you read a book or the paper. No. There's noise. Everybody's talking to themselves sometimes with the chavruta, but sometimes to themselves. Okay, that's so. So this is called. This is what the Mishnah called arichat sfatayim. Now there's another interpretation. It's also for tefillah. Arichat sfatayim is also a concept that applies to tefillah. There's also in brachot, the Mishnah, I'm sorry, the Gemara over there says that if somebody daven, im ra'a adam sheitpalel velo na'ana, yachzor v'yitpalel. Okay, we don't paskin like that. Okay, forget about reality. But the basic principle says, let's assume, you know what? Let's make it practical. Why not? Let's assume that I'm in the Amidah. And I feel that my mind is drifting. I'm thinking about other things. I'm not really focusing on that text. I'm whatever. Things. Okay. Probably I should go back. Okay, so I know that halachically speaking, if you open Ilchot Tefillah, it'll tell you that only the first one, and even some of the poskim says even the first bracha, because it requires kavanah, even the first bracha you shouldn't repeat because we don't have the ability to lechaven anyway today. But if let's assume that you are, I don't know, in Refa'enu, Birkat Hashanim, I don't know, you talk about the needs, okay, whether it's for healing, whether it's for parnasah, for sustenance, whatever that is, and you feel that you are mentally in a different place, you feel that you are not there. My personal practice and my personal recommendation to you guys, wait until you get there. Don't continue with, try.
Right.
And if you need to repeat that line, repeat it. And again, try the best that you can under the circumstances to, yes, give it meaning. So this is arichat sfatayim also. Arichat sfatayim has to do, now, arichat sfatayim, I want to be very clear. It's connected to tefillah, but in also as a preparation for tefillah. What does it mean? It's exactly what we do here. You learn about the text, you understand that. I'll tell you more than that. You practice it in your mouth, so you actually recite it correctly. One of the things that drive me absolutely nuts is when I work with a bar mitzvah boy. Now, I have no expectations for them to know all the psukim of the parsha, to be able to read them perfectly, from the beginning. I get it. But for example, I would work with them on Musaf. And I said, okay, the first brachot, you say 3 times a day, allegedly. On Shabbat 4 times. How that's possible that you
Don't know the Hebrew.
you say it with mistakes. And you know why? Because we say it silently. And when there's a repetition of the Amidah, nobody pays attention. So they kind of know it, but it's not 100. Sometimes you have no idea what kind of variations I hear. All sorts of stuff that is close. It's in the neighborhood. It sounds close enough to the words that are written in the Siddur, but it's not 100%.
They daven every day.
And they daven allegedly every day, correct?
So no one ever corrects.
No, they say it quietly in the silent Amidah, and if there's like singing or whatever, listening to the Chazan, they're spacing out anyway, especially kids. One of the things that I'm very proud, I don't know if they still do it, but when I came to LA and I put together the curriculum, the Tefillah curriculum for Hillel, one of the principles that I created is we're going to do less Tefillah, depends on the grade, but it's
Out loud.
but everything is out loud.
Well, Sephardim
Everything,
doesn't.
Sephardim do that. Because of that, Sephardim know the tefillah and they know how to pronounce it and know the psukim by heart. And we're like mumbling stuff that is close to that. So so arichat sfatayim is also that preparation of being able. Sometimes people come to me and say, how are you able to recite like the Chazarat Hashem so quickly and so accurately? I said, because I practiced. No, because I also practiced.
Yeah.
I got it into my mouth. Just like I practiced like operas in Italian, and all those long monologues and blah, 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 you have to get it into your mouth. The same goes for tefillah. You need to say those words again and again and again and again until it's like. So that's also arichat sfatayim. Okay. And then there's another level. If this is tefillah, arichat sfatayim is also, so there's a hint to another incident we talked about it a long time ago. I don't expect you to remember, of tefillah. What is it? Where do we learn the principle or the idea of tefillah from? From the Avot, right? We talked about the famous Mishnah, tefillah keneged Avot or keneged korbanot, right? But the concept came from the Avot. The pratim, the details came from the korbanot. What time we daven, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. That's from the korbanot. But the concept came from the Avot, right? So shacharit is Avraham, right? How do we know that? What the pasuk says? No.
Yeah,
That's very nice. I never heard that, but that's very nice, but that's not pshat. That's Rabbi Bordugo, original. No? I don't know. Okay. The Gemara has a different idea. The Gemara actually quotes 3 different psukim, right? So about Avraham is Vayashkem Avraham Baboker, and the Gemara says, En Hashkama Ela Letfilah. About Yitzchak, Vayetze Yitzchak Lasuach Lifnot Arev, Ein Sicha Ela Letfilah. And about Yaakov, the Gemara, the pasuk says, Vayifga Yaakov Bamakom Hahu, Kiva Hashamesh, right? And then he has the dream. Ein Pegia Ela Letfilah. So, what is it that the pasuk about Avraham is referring to? Vayashkem Avraham Baboker, going to Akedat Yitzchak. So what did Avraham did before he started the journey? He davened, according to the Talmud. Okay, and that is arichat sfatayim. He davened before he went into the Akedah. So here we go. We have already another hint to the Akedah. See how he builds it. Okay, and then sichenu yushpar kehekter uvlula. Okay, so we said in the context of sicha vayetze Yitzchak lasuach and sicha ela letfilah, right? That's the Gemara in Masechet Brachot. Okay, so sichenu, our tfilah, yushpar. What is better? Exactly, shipur, from the word shipur, better. Kehekter uvlula. What's hekter uvlula? Ketoret and mincha velula vashemen. Thank you. Okay, like the korbanot. So what we're saying is, yeah, it is amazing. Those guys knew their Hebrew. What can I tell you? So what we're saying, sichenu, our tefillah, will be better or improved, just like we're asking that our tefillot will be improved like the korbanot. Right? We know that tefillot bimkom korbanot, but we're asking that indeed it'll be good. Okay, next. נתיב יושר אם נעקל בלכת, משלחתך לעזוב להתרפות במלאכת. Okay, so in Tehillim, Again, Kuf Yutet, we always go back to Kuf Yutet. It's just such a long perek. Anyway, in Tilim Kuf Yutet, David HaMelech says what? Adricheni bentiv mitzvotecha kivo chafatzi. If you grew up in Israel in Bnei Akiva, you know it's a song also. Anyway, so King David is asking God, Hadricheni, lead me on that path of mitzvotecha, of your mitzvot, kivo chafatzti, because that's what I really desire. What happened? I took a turn. I took a wrong turn. I took a detour, right? King David, by the way, one of the greatest, and this is why we go back to King David, and this is why we of all the major figures in Jewish history, we say David Melech Israel. Chai v'kayam. Why is King David? Now, why not Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron? Why is David the ultimate? You know why? Exactly. Because he's not perfect. Because he admits that he chatati. Because he's human. And if I want to be inspired, I mean, what am I going to compare myself to Moshe Rabbeinu? It's impossible. It's just going to make me it's going to make me feel even worse. Right? Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. I might as well just give up. King David is a different story. I made mistakes. I've sinned. I've done terrible things. Whatever. But I always do tshuva. This is why. So he says, I took a detour. So we say, Netiv Yosher, okay, that there is a straight path. Right? The Torah gave me a straight path. You, God, gave me a straight path. Im ne'ikal belechet. What is ne'ikal? Well, what is ikul? Ikul. When you have in the road, you have ikul. A detour.
Yeah.
You have a, okay? Im ne'ikal belechet. Belechet, when I was walking. So, yes, there's a path. I start walking. I took a detour. משלחתך לעזוב להתרפות במלאכת. But we are asking להתרפא. We're asking to be healed במלאכת while we're doing it. So we're asking God, I'm in the detour. With your help, משלחתך לעזוב. I want to leave. I want to go back to the main road. Right? So I want to לעזוב, that ikul. And by doing that, I'm going to להתרפא. I'm going to be better, healed. Okay. There's a pasuk in Shoftim. והולכי נתיבות ילכו אורחות עקלקלות. Right? It's to describe the time. It's in Shirat Dvorah, one of those many passages that I had to learn by heart when I was in elementary school. They don't do that anymore. The kids don't learn, they don't memorize. We had to memorize so much stuff.
They have electronic books.
I get it, but it's amazing. I mean, we memorized so many, like chapters over chapters over chapters of Tanakh, and it's like it's still stuck here somewhere. Anyway, so Dvorah, after the battle with Sisra, she's talking. She has that long poem, right? And this is one of the psukim over there that she says, "V'olchei netivot yilchu orchot hakalkalot." The people who walk, have to go whatever. Orchei netivot, netiv, lane. So the people who are It's not the guests. It's
Oh,
people needs to that's oreach. Pedestrians. Yeah. People who needs to go in the road had to take detours. Okay? They had to take detours. ילכו אורחות עקלקלות. They had to take detours. Why? Because the roads were not safe.
oh.
The roads were not safe, and this because of that they had to go into the war with Yavin Melech Sisra. So she's given a description like the background for the battle. Things were not good. You had to go off the way because it was dangerous. Anyway. Okay. לנגדך יופקד מזבח מערכת. לנגדך, in front of you, יופקד מזבח מערכת. What's the מזבח and the מערכת? Right? It's the altar. So what is it that we say actually? No, מזבח and מערכת, יזכור, meaning we want you to remember, right, the מזבח, i.e. בית המקדש, because it's already destroyed, right? לפניך יופקד, but so what I'm saying, my tefillah and all that kind of stuff, and my tshuva, we ask God that will be there as a pikadon, okay, good, nice, as a pikadon, as a substitute because I have no mizbeach. Remember, one of the major differences when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed is that we talked about that before Rosh Hashana Yom Kippur, I think. That there was a transformation. It's tshuva is not the same as kapara. Okay, kapara is something that we were able to achieve only in Beit HaMikdash. Since then, we don't have that. We can correct our ways, we can do things, we can get the slicha from God, but we cannot undo what we have done. Only in the time of Beit HaMikdash, when there was the Yom Kippur and the whole avodah of the Kohen Gadol and whatever, that achieved a kapara for everybody. We don't have that anymore.
Oh, yeah,
What were the chickens? The kaparot. That's a minhag that has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the kapara on the mizbeach. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's symbolic. Let's call it this way. That's much better. Okay. Okay, and then כמאכלת המאכילה מאז נערכת. What is a מאכלת? No. What is Yitzchak says to Avram? Now it's like really we're smack in the Akedah, right? Yitzchak says to Avram, הנה האש והעצים ואיה המאכלת. Where's the knife? The מאכלת is a knife, right? המאכלת כהמאכילה מאז נערכת.
The knife prepared of all the still provides merit.
So, why is ma'achelet? Why a knife called ma'achelet? Excellent. Exactly it. Because you use a knife to prepare your food. You prepare food. Okay? Okay. I have a chicken, and in order for that chicken to be food, I need to use a knife. Different types of knife, but it's the same idea. First to shecht it, then to cut it, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's number one. Now, המאכילה מאז נערכת. The מאכלת that was feeding, right? מאז נערכת. What is נערכת?
That still provides merit.
מערכת העצים, we have מערכה. The עצים were on מערכה. That's again, it's a reference to the mizbeach, to the altar. because the knife provided food from even the time of the Mizbeach, right? Because even when they shech the animal and they gave a korban, they provided food, either for the owners, part of the korban were eaten by the owner, some of them were provided to the Kohanim,
Right.
etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now it's like really, it's the, if you had any doubts that we're going into the Akedah, comes this line. Yached av uven belechtam lehar hamor, lehar mor. Har Moriah. Yachad av uven, together a father and son, belechtam, and they're walking to the Mount Moriah. I don't think we need to explain that. We understand. Tevach leachin. Okay. Tevach leachin. We know what it means. What? It's slaughter for food, for a meal. What it's taken from a couple of weeks ago in the Parsha, Utvoach tevach ve'achen. Yosef says when he's gonna have lunch with his brothers, they still don't know who he is. Utvoach tevach ve'achen. He says to his servant. Yeah, shech something for the Seudah. Okay. Mifkadcha lishmor.
Same word they use.
And mifkadcha. What is mifkadcha? Pakad. To remember, lishmor, right? That mifkad. Who is the mufkad? It's us. Pikadon. Collateral. Now, why this is important? Because both in the context of the Akedah and in the context of Yosef preparing the Tevach for today is massacre in modern Hebrew Tevach, but in that context, his meal, there was a lot of fear associated there. When the brothers went to Yosef, they didn't know what's going to happen.
No.
They had no idea things are going to turn out okay? So there was like a lot of fear, and especially a fear of the pikadon, of what's going to happen with the continuation of their family. Maybe he's going to kill them all, that Egyptian rule. And the same goes for the Akedah. If Abraham is going to kill Yitzchak at this point, what's going to happen? That's the end of it. So we have an element of fear in those incidences. Okay? Okay? However, we're asking that even though we did not, we're not in the same madriga, we're not on the same level as the fathers, Abraham, Isaac, Joseph, whatever, we're still asking the what? In their merit, Pikadon, their children, Hanitam netzor rachamim lichmor. Hanitam, what is chanita or lachanot? It's a preservation. It's a form of preservation. So preserve us. Netzor. It's also to keep. Okay. Rachamim lichmor. How are you going to do that? With rachamim. With compassion. It comes from, what's the lichmor? Nichmeru rachamav. Right? We say it in many times in Tanakh. Right? V'lo yachol Yosef li'tapek ki nichmeru rachamav. Yosef couldn't hold it anymore. Ki nichmeru rachamav. So basically what we say is, Yichamru rachamecha. And keep us, preserve us. That's what we're saying. Zecher shavua kiktorat litmor. It's a remembrance or remnant for the shvuah. What is the shvuah? It's not, you're close. It's a reaffirmation of Brit Ben Abtarim. At that time of the Akedah, God is saying to Abraham, "Ata yadati blah 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 blah," and he says, "Rabbi yezarach kechovei hashamayim v'chachol asher al sfat hayam." God reaffirmed his promise for numerous descendants to Abraham. At that moment that he was that close to lose his son, God says, "Don't worry, you're going to have many." So zecher shvua, that's the shvua, right? Because God said, "Binishbati," right? And then kiktoret litmo. What is ketoret? We know it's the incense of the ketoret in Beit Hamikdash. Litmor, because the ketoret is mitamer. Ashan, we say even today in modern Hebrew, we say when it called smoke. Smoke, when the smoke is mitamer, goes up, rises. And how we call it in English? When you have smoke, you see the smoke from afar. How is it called? Smoke rising, okay. Smoke rising, yeah. So lehitamer, it comes from the word tamir. What do we say? Tamir ne'elam. Right, we say it in Tfilat Nechunya ben Akana. Tamir ne'elam. Right, in Ana Bechoach, we have the word tamir. Tamir is what? Gavoa, high. So lehitamer is to rise up. Okay, kitoret, because the kitoret itself went up. The smoke went up. Last line, and we're going to be done for today. Uveshivtecha yom ladin amim. And when today you sit and you what? Din, judge nations. Remember, Rosh Hashana is not only our judgment, we said a million times. The judgment, v'chol ba'ei olam. Every nation, every person on earth. Himale al tze'etzaemo. Okay, tze'etza is a descendant. See, himale, be full of something. We'll get there in a second. Tze'etzaemo, his or their tze'etzaim, their descendants of the forefathers. Rachamim. So what do we ask? That God will have compassion on their descendants. That's you and me. Dinenu hatzer velo nitze nichlamim. Dinenu hatzer velo nitze nichlamim. Ve'hotzi chaor tzidkecha, the pasuk in Tehillim says, u'mishpatecha katzaorayim. Right? Dinenu hatzer, le'atzhir is declare, thank you. Velo nitze nichlam. What is nichlam? Embarrassed. So declare our judgment, which is what we hope is going to be good, and get exactly. And don't let us be ashamed, embarrassed. Okay, and then the last part of the sentence: Gefen mata'atecha tachin leorech yamim. That's a pasuk we're all familiar with. Orech yamim asbehu v'areu bishuati. Say that it's in Tehillim 91, right? Because what? Israel, the Jewish nation, is compared to a grape, to a vine. Eshtecha kegefen poria, banecha keshtilei zeitim. Gefen poria, vine is a image for Knesset Israel, for the Jewish people, and we say gefen mata'atcha, the gefen, the vine that you have planted, tachin leorech hamim, should live for length of days. So that's what we basically ask God to live for orech yamim. Okay, so next time, 2 weeks. We have 3 sentences. Should we just finish it?
Sure.
Yeah, everybody's okay? It'll take us 5 minutes. בזכות נעקד הקשיבה משחק. אביוני עמך קוראיך מדוחק. ובזכות הנעקד הקשיבה ועשה, that's something we say all the time, right? That's okay. So בזכות in the merit of the עקדה, נעקד, it's Yitzchak, was binding. האזן לתפילת אביוני עמך. Listen to the tefillah of Evion, the poor. Poor is not financial. Poor is in maasim, of your people. By the way, the Sfardim has a very famous piyut that they say in Ne'ilah. Ya Shema Evyonecha Am Chalim Pane. That's the highlight of the Ne'ilah Tefillah. Okay, it's based on that. That's exactly it. בזכות הנעקד הקשיבה משחק. So we are the Evyonim. We call to you in the time of distress. And in the merit of Isaac, who was bind, listen to us. Shmeinu al sifrecha lechaim yuchak. Okay? ויוחקו לחיים טובים בספר. We say it in the tefillah of Yom Kippur all the time. So, Shmeinu, our name, al sifrecha, on your book. What book? The book of good life. Lechaim, for life. Yuchak. What is lachok? What is chok? A decree, a law. So, to constitute, to be written in that book of good life. Okay? And it's actually more than that. What is lachkok? It's the same shorish of chakuk. Chakuk begishat noam. To engrave. We don't want to be like just written, something that you can erase. We want engraved. Okay? Good. And then, v'niv sefatenu akshev kavayetar yitzchak. V'niv sefatenu. What is safa? Lips. Lip. Niv. Words. Or dialect. In modern Hebrew, it's a dialect. Niv. Right? It's a dialect. So, niv sfatenu. The words of our... It's language. Thank you. Right? Hakshev. Listen. Listen. So basically, listen to our words. This is a beautiful one. Kevayetar Yitzchak. Just like when Yitzchak prayed. What's the context? Vayetar Yitzchak lenochach ishto ki akarai. Vayeater lo Hashem. Batar Yitzchak. Batar Rivka. Sometimes in Hebrew, I gave a series about that a long time. We have like the same shoresh that it's the two opposites. Like for example, lehashrish is to take root, lesharesh is to uproot. Okay, neshek is weapon. It's the opposite of what you do neshika. What you do with there's a lot of that stuff. Well, we spoke about that. I had a series about that during COVID about that stuff. Anyway, so vayetar is one of those words. So vayetar is to appeal, to ask, but it's also he'ater. When you say he'ater lanu bevakashatenu, right? But lehe'ater is what? No, lehe'ater is to say okay, to give it, not to comply, but to agree, to grant. So I'm nereta, I'm asking atira. When you do an atira to the Beit HaMishpat, to the court, you're asking the court for something. You have atira, you appeal. It's an appeal. You appeal to the court, and then vaye'ater lo Hashem, and God granted Yitzchak. So what are we saying here? What are we saying? V'niv sfatenu akshev. Listen to our words. Listen to what our lips are doing. Kevaye'atar Yitzchak, just like what happened to Yitzchak, because Yitzchak asked, appealed, and he was granted his wish. It's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. Okay. Sfatenu, last sentence. Sfatenu medobevot oz uvetzidkato nichye. Sfatenu medobevot oz, that's from Shir Hashirim, dovev sfatei yeshenim. What is ledovev? Sfatenu we know. It's language. It's words. It's whatever. Right? Safa, lips. Right? Medovevot. What is ledovev? How do you translate it? Moves. Moves. Okay? Medovevot. Okay? So our lips are going to say, going to be moving, to emphasize, to pray, like, but without word, like, sometimes, okay? ברחמים יצדקנו וזרוענו יהיה, since we don't have masim, we don't have any merit, so we ask that ברחמים, through compassion, we're going to have this yetzadkenu, we're going to have this tzedek, okay? וזרוענו יהיה. זרוענו, how do they translate here?
Strong arm.
Okay, fine. Okay, so that's from the word of zroa, okay? So what do we say? We kind of almost like when we say Hashlech al Hashem Yahvecha. Leave it to God. It's like rely on God. There's a pasuk in Yeshayahu that says, Heyeh zroam labkarim. Yeshayahu asks God, says, be that arm that they can rely on. Some segments of Jewish population take it too far. They rely only on God. You need money? God will help. You need security, army. God will help. I don't have to do anything about that. Okay, and the last. Okay, then we have Yechayenu kekedem miyomayim ehye. Yechayenu kekedem. God will revive us or let us live as the old days. Ehye. What is ehye? This is in last week's parsha. Ehye shlachani elechem. God says that's one of God's names, and God said it to Moshe. Ehye shecheye. ומה אמר להם? ehye shlachani elechem. זה שמי לעולם. God says to Moshe, וזה זכרי לדור דור. See, a lot of people paying attention to the parsha. Okay, ביום השלישי יקימנו ונחיה. ביום השלישי יקימנו ונחיה. No, מקדם מיומיים, that means like from old days. That's but this is something more specific. So that's based on a pasuk from the book of Hosea, and the Navi over there says, יחיינו מיומיים, ביום השלישי יקימנו ונחיה לפניו. So Rashi explains there that just like God, we were dead for Yomaim. What does it mean? We were dead for 2 galuyot. Mitzrayim and Bavel. He can't talk about this galut because we're still there. Well, depends who you ask, how you ask. But definitely the times of this, that the poem was written, there's no doubt that the galut was very much present, right? So what are we asking? Bayom HaShlishi, in the third galut, i.e., in our time, yekaimenu v'nichyeh, that means that we are going to be saved and we shall be able to live, and the galut is going to be over. Last point, Radak has a totally different explanation for that. Radak says that when a person is sick, the 2 days are when he's sick, the third day is when things start to turn over. How do we know that? It's a very famous story you're familiar with. Avraham and the Malachim.
Oh, on the third day.
On the third day, they came to visit him after his Brit Milah. So according to that approach is that it's the 2 days, and then the third day there's like a change, the transformation, the whatever, and this is the third day. So you ask for Chaim, or you get Chaim, or just like the turning point of a sick person is the third day. Okay, that's Radak. And there's another, by the way, another last interpretation is that what is the 3 days? 2 days are Rosh Hashanah. Third day is Yom Kippur. When do we achieve the Chaim and we achieve the verdict and it's final? It's on Yom Kippur. Okay, that's Hasidic. Hasidut was not in. That comes much later. Okay. So this is dispute. Next time we'll continue. And remember, next time we're going to get into the Meshulash, which is the third piyut in the third bracha, Meshulash. That's because we're just finishing the second, the Mechayeh. Then we're going to go to the Meshulash, which leads us to the Siluk, which is the last piyut before Kedusha. Just reminding you the structure. Not that it matters, but reminding you the structure that we discussed. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Laura,
Yeah.
have a wonderful trip.